100 million followers globally and broke the Guinness World Record for the most subscribers for a Chinese language channel on YouTube. She never spoke a word, yet the world couldn't look away. Millions watched her videos in silence, entranced by the rhythm of raindrops on bamboo, the steam rising from handmade dumplings, the soft rustle of wind through ancient pine trees. Her content was slow, quiet, and mesmerizing. And just when her audience was most captivated, she vanished. This is the untold story of Li Ziqi, the silent queen of YouTube. What was her secret to going viral worldwide without ever saying a single word? Why would someone at the height of global fame and influence simply disappear? And how she tapped into something most of us didn't see coming. The next evolution of social media, the rise of cultural creators, and the collision of East and West. With over 26 million subscribers on YouTube alone and billions of views, her videos traveled far beyond her Sichuan village and became a bridge between ancient Chinese tradition and the modern world. For many outside of China, it was the first time we saw a version of rural life untouched by industrial noise. Harvesting lotus roots, fermenting soy sauce, crafting paper from tree bark. It wasn't just content, it was preservation, poetry, and peace. But how did a quiet woman from the Chinese countryside reshape the digital storytelling landscape? Li Ziqi was born in 1990 in Mianyang, Sichuan province, a mountainous region rich in natural beauty but marked by economic hardship. Orphaned at a young age and raised by her grandparents, she grew up with skills most people today only read about: fermenting, woodworking, weaving, farming. These weren't aesthetic choices. They were survival. Before becoming a global icon, she was just another struggling millennial in China. In her early 20s, she worked a string of exhausting jobs in the city. Waitress, DJ, sales clerk. Life was loud, fast, and draining. Eventually, she returned to her village, burned out, broke, and seeking peace. That's where everything began. Her first videos, posted on China's short video platforms like Meipai and Weibo, were simple. Quiet shots of cooking and crafting with her grandmother. Over time, her editing style grew more cinematic. She used a single camera, no crew, no dialogue, yet her eye for composition and story made every frame feel like a painting. In 2017, she joined YouTube, and the rest is history. Her subscriber count exploded. In just a few years, she went from a few thousand followers to over 17 million. Her most watched videos crossed the 100 million mark. YouTube named her the Asian Martha Stewart, though that comparison barely scratched the surface of what she represented. By 2020, she was one of the most watched female YouTubers in the world. Her influence stretched beyond content creation, into fashion, food trends, and even diplomacy. So, what made her content go viral? Li Ziqi's videos weren't just beautiful, they were deeply strategic. Every element served a purpose, and together, they formed a magic formula that turned ordinary moments into viral art. First, timing. Her rise coincided with a global wave of burnout. Viewers, especially urban millennials and Gen Z, were craving slower, more intentional experiences. Her videos became a form of digital escapism. Then, it is visual storytelling. Her frames were carefully composed like traditional Chinese scroll paintings. She used natural light, earthy tones, and sweeping landscape shots that grounded her in a specific place, rural Sichuan, but evoked emotions that felt universal. But beauty alone doesn't go viral. What made her content stick was emotional architecture. Each video followed a subtle narrative arc, a task introduced, a process undertaken, and a result revealed. The satisfaction of a perfect harvest, the peace of slow crafting, the warmth of sharing food with her grandmother. These stories didn't need words, they lived in the details. And those details created intimacy. Then came cultural depth. Unlike many influencers who borrow aesthetics, Li Ziqi lived them. She made soy sauce from scratch, harvested mulberries to dye cloth, and crafted bamboo furniture, all rooted in traditional Chinese practices that most of her audience had never seen. Her authenticity wasn't just visual, it was historical and spiritual. That's why scholars praised her work. The Chinese Academy of Social Sciences called her a cultural ambassador. Her videos became educational tools in schools and were even promoted by Chinese state media as soft power exports. She represented an idealized version of China that was ancient, poetic, and peaceful. Another piece of the formula? The pace. Slow living wasn't just an aesthetic, it was an antidote. In a time when social feeds were saturated with chaos, Li Ziqi's videos offered calm. Watching her cook wasn't just entertaining, it felt healing, almost meditative. It created digital stillness in an age of endless scrolling. And finally, the silence. No voiceovers, no subtitles, no scripted drama. Her lack of dialogue erased cultural barriers and made the experience feel pure. That gave her videos a universal appeal, crossing language barriers effortlessly. It invited viewers to interpret her world on their own terms, drawing them into a personal relationship with her craft. This quiet approach made her videos binge-worthy. People didn't watch just one. They watched 10 in a row. And in doing so, they didn't just become fans. They became followers of a lifestyle. It was this blend of art, emotion, tradition, and timing that created her unique formula. But while the internet was falling in love with her story, behind the scenes, something much more complicated was beginning to unfold. As Li Ziqi's fame skyrocketed, her life behind the camera grew more complex. The quiet village girl had become a multi-million-dollar brand. So how much does she make? Before disappearing, Li Ziqi's income had already become a hot topic. According to information online, her annual earnings were estimated at 168 million RMB, approximately $24 million, mainly from YouTube ad revenue and sales from her Tmall store. Even after she stopped uploading in 2021, her YouTube channel, with over 17 million subscribers, still earned about $114,000 per month or $1.37 million per year. On the e-commerce side, her brand was booming. In 2019 alone, she sold over 100 million RMB, Thai $14 million, worth of traditional Chinese food and lifestyle products on platforms like Taobao. She also attracted brand partnerships, aligning only with products that fit her authentic, wholesome image. There's no doubt, Li Ziqi turned silence into a multi-million-dollar brand. At the center of this turning point was her relationship with her multi-channel network, MCN, a company called Winian. They helped her scale her operations, manage business logistics, and monetize her content. But soon, cracks began to show. In mid-2021, fans noticed something odd. Li Ziqi stopped posting. Her regular uploads, which had brought comfort to millions, came to a sudden halt. No announcements, no explanation, just silence. Speculation spread like wildfire. Had she burned out? Was she sick? Had something happened to her grandmother? The truth, as it turned out, was more complicated and more telling of the darker side of influencer culture. In July 2021, Li Ziqi filed a lawsuit against Winian. The details weren't immediately clear, but insiders revealed growing tension over control and profit sharing. According to reports, Li Ziqi felt she had lost ownership of her name, image, and creative freedom. Her face was on products she didn't approve. Her brand was expanding in directions she hadn't chosen, including product lines and licensing deals that felt disconnected from her core values. In China, where MCNs often wield enormous power over creators, her case was rare and bold. Fans rallied behind her. The idea that this peaceful, soft-spoken woman was fighting a corporate machine struck a chord. She became not just a content creator, but a symbol of creator rights. But legal battles are slow. Months passed. She remained offline. Her YouTube channel remained frozen in time. For someone who built a global following on presence and consistency, the absence was deafening. Her disappearance wasn't just a personal break. It became symbolic. A quiet rebellion against a system that profits from creators, but doesn't always protect them. Even in silence, Li Ziqi's influence echoes across the digital world. Her disappearance didn't erase her legacy. It amplified it. While most creators fade when they stop uploading, Li Ziqi became something rarer, a cultural touchstone. Her videos are still widely shared, studied, and imitated. She didn't just create content, she created a blueprint. On platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, a wave of creators began emulating her style. We saw a surge in slow-living influencers, pastoral scenes, natural sounds, handcrafted everything. These creators often cited Li Ziqi as their inspiration, but few could match the depth of her storytelling or the authenticity of her roots. She also inspired a global reevaluation of digital pacing. In an age obsessed with engagement rates and retention graphs, Li Ziqi proved that people would still watch long-form, slow-paced videos if they felt real. Her success opened the door for niche creators who once believed their content wasn't fast or loud enough to thrive. In China, she became a symbol of soft power. Her content was promoted by Chinese state media, included in school curriculums, and referenced in international diplomacy. She showed the world a different side of China, one rooted in nature, family, and centuries-old traditions. Brands took notice too. The quiet luxury and mindful lifestyle movements in Asia owe much of their popularity to the aesthetic and emotional space she cultivated. From packaging design to wellness branding, her influence reshaped the visual language of authenticity. Even academia responded. Professors in media studies, marketing, and even anthropology now reference her videos to explore new paradigms in digital communication, authenticity, and transnational storytelling. But perhaps her greatest impact was emotional. She reminded millions of viewers, especially in the chaos of modern life, that simplicity could be beautiful, that silence could speak, that tradition could feel modern. Li Ziqi didn't just change content, she changed what content could mean, and showed us that success wasn't built on trends or gimmicks, it was built on culture. She introduced millions of people around the world to aspects of Chinese life they had never seen before. Her videos weren't translations, they were invitations into a world that felt deeply personal and yet universally meaningful. And that's where the real opportunity lies. She proved that cultural storytelling travels, even without language, and the bridge goes both ways. Today, Chinese audiences are just as curious about the West as the West is about China. There's massive interest in Western culture, fashion, food, education, family life, and everyday routines. But here's the twist. Most Western social media platforms are blocked in China. No Instagram, no Facebook, no YouTube. That means Chinese viewers can't access most Western influencers. But Chinese platforms like Douyin, Bilibili, Rednote Xiaohongshu, WeChat, and Weibo are wide open. And very few Western creators are posting there. The market is underdeveloped, underserved, and incredibly curious. So what if Western influencers did what Li Ziqi did in reverse? Imagine a creator from Paris showing French street cafes on Xiaohongshu, or a baker in Brooklyn making bagels and explaining Jewish holiday traditions on Bilibili. Or a father in Copenhagen sharing minimalist living tips on Douyin. There's an audience, millions of people, waiting to see, to learn, and to connect. She revealed a formula that anyone can use. Show your culture, stay authentic, tell stories that matter. Whether you're in Chengdu or Chicago, in a village or a city, the next wave of content might come not from being louder, but from being more local and more human. So, do you think cultural creators are the next big trend? Will more Western influencers enter Chinese platforms, and more Chinese creators make their mark on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook? Who do you want to follow? Drop your thoughts in the comment. But one thing's clear. The future of social media isn't just about going viral, it's about going global.